Today I'm going to show you how I get my elephant ear ready for the winter. The leaves cut off very easily with a little knife. And there's my growth for this year. It's a pretty big plant. The first thing I'm going to do is cut off all the leaves. Now you might wonder why I'm cutting off these leaves when they're still nice and green, but I figured I'd get out here and do the video today because we're expecting a very cold night tomorrow and these all go brown tomorrow. Once I've got all the leaves off, it's time to dig it up. Now I mulch a lot with wood chips, so before I do any digging in the garden, I always move the wood chips aside, because I don't really want them mixed into the soil too much. I want them left on top of the soil, so they don't use up too much nitrogen. Now when I planted this in the fall, it was a pretty big bulb, but the bulb size was about like this. Curious to see how big it is now. So here's what I pulled out of the ground. Now what I want to do is get rid of most of this soil and all of the roots here. And the less organic matter I have on here, the less rotting I'll see. So just cut them off. If you get little stubbles, that's okay. They'll just dry back. Try not to cut into the bulb itself. So the main bulb here is about the same size as when I put it in. It really hasn't grown that much, but it's made a lot of side bulbs. This one over here is pretty loose. I can break that off. There'll be a nice growth for next year. The others I think I'll leave on for now. Maybe in the spring I'll take them off if I want to separate them. Alright, most of these roots are off here. Anything I don't cut back will dry up anyways, but I'll probably still take some of this off. I have way too much green growth here. This will all die back, so these can be cut back to about here. So now what I'll do is I'll let this sit for several days and let it get really dry. Keep an eye on it. Make sure there's no mold or rot taking place. If there is any rot, cut it out. Treat it with sulfur right away. But we want the whole thing to get completely dry. Last fall I brought this Colocasia corm into an unheated sunroom and let it dry. As the old leaves started drying off, I just picked them off gently if they came off. Then I took it in the basement, which is cool, but not very cool in the fall. And I just let it sit and dry. I wanted to keep an eye on it and make sure I didn't get any rot, make sure that these new growths dry off here, and I didn't have any problems with it at all. And then somewhere around the 1st of December, I put it into my fruit cellar. Now in the middle of winter, my fruit cellar gets down to about 5 degrees centigrade, which is 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's just above freezing, but nice and cool. And what that does, it allows the drying process to continue, and it keeps the corm dormant. As long as it's that cold, it's not going to start to grow. And that's how I stored it. No water, no spraying, no peat moss. I just let it sit open like this in this particular tray. It shrunk a little bit, I think, but not very much. Here's one of the side bulbs I had pulled off, and it looks quite healthy. These would be new growths here on the side. Again, it's maybe a little bit of shrinkage, but it looks fine. All of the old roots that I didn't quite get off are dry now, and I could peel those off if I wanted to. It's really not important for the plant at this point, and they don't have to come off before you plant it. It can be planted just like this. So what do you do with it now? Well, it's early March, and it's still too early for me to start this. I'm in zone 5. But in another 3 to 4 weeks, I'll start warming it up. And as it hits warmer temperatures, he'll start to grow. First roots will come out, and then eventually some new top growth will come out too. These corms don't grow very well as long as it's cool, so it's waiting for some fairly warm temperatures before it will do anything. And putting it in the garden early isn't really going to do you a lot of good, because it's just going to sit in the cold soil and not do anything. So I'm going to probably start this one indoors. Just pot it up and give it a little moisture, let it start going, let it warm up. It's going to take several weeks before it'll do anything. And you can easily start these about 6 weeks before you want to take them outside. Now what's critical here is that they cannot take frost. So if you take them outside and plant them, you have to make sure that you're not going to get any more frost. I'll probably do a separate video on planting them outside, so I'll have a look for that. Anyways, these are very easy to grow, beautiful plants, large leaves, easy to take care of all winter. You don't have to do anything to them.